75.8 million people in the U.S. volunteered for a nonprofit between September 2022 and September 2023. This statistic, provided by Milwaukee Independent in November 2025, highlights the rise of volunteerism following the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, just to briefly clarify this concept, volunteering consists of informal and formal volunteering. For instance, an article released by Activate Good in May 2025 defines informal volunteering as doing an act of good for a neighbor, such as running errands, lending tools, or providing caregiving, whereas formal volunteering involves serving in a nonprofit organization like a food bank or a church ministry. Today, we'll be focusing primarily on formal volunteering for nonprofits in our post-COVID society. Now, just to provide a brief glimpse of how nonprofits contribute to the economy we as young adults are currently entering, an article released by the American Society for Public Administration in October 2025 noted that just the nonprofit sector alone generated more than $1.4 trillion to the U.S. economic activity in 2023. As our society continues to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic, volunteers are needed more than ever to boost the critical efforts of nonprofit organizations. With that, today, let's dive into the need for volunteerism, practical ways you can volunteer, and finally, the benefits of volunteering. With the decline of volunteerism during and since the pandemic, society has struggled financially, relationally, and mentally. Firstly, with limited volunteer manpower, nonprofits have suffered financially. For instance, the University of Miami reported in July 2025 how one of the most significant impacts the pandemic had on nonprofits was a decrease in donations, which was positively correlated with a decrease in volunteer manpower. Likewise, a press release published in December 2025 by Independent Sector noted how over 81% of nonprofit organizations surveyed struggled to raise enough funds to cover all of their costs. Secondly, the pandemic inflated levels of isolation in society. For instance, the United Nations released in December 2020 how in just one day, Red Cross France lost over 11,000 volunteers over the age of 60. This was especially problematic as volunteering served as a way for them to be able to regain some sort of social contact. Thirdly, mental health struggles have skyrocketed since 2020. According to an article published by the National Library of Medicine in September 2024, despite recent reports showing that levels of anxiety and depression have slightly improved since the pandemic, these levels still have not returned to what they were pre-pandemic. Similarly, the University of Chicago Medicine shared in May 2024 how elevated rates of suicide and psychiatric disorder remain a public health safety for our society in the wake of COVID-19. As nonprofit organizations struggle to sustain their efforts and society continues to struggle socially and mentally, the need for volunteerism is significant. Thankfully, even now, we can support society by formal volunteering, whether it be for a local community service nonprofit or your home church, or even a global outreach ministry offered here on campus. One way you can help reduce costs in your community would be to volunteer for a community service nonprofit, like a food bank, recreational center, or even a homeless shelter. According to Sun Health Foundation in April 2025, volunteers enable nonprofits to stretch their every dollar, allowing them to be able to reinvest the money that would typically go towards staffing to other programs and services, ultimately to help expand their reach and amplify their impact in the community. Another way you can serve involves volunteering in a ministry at your church. For example, Subsplash offered insight in June 2025 how many churches throughout the United States commonly offer ministry opportunities like serving in the children's church or media production team, youth group, worship team, and many more. A third and perhaps more convenient way to volunteer at this stage in our lives would be to serve in a global outreach ministry here on campus. As of March 2026, Cedarville's official website lists numerous opportunities for all Cedarville students to be able to serve at a local nonprofit organization, whether it be on a weekly or monthly basis. Personally, I can attest to the value of volunteering, as I've had the pleasure of serving with a group of Cedarville students the past 4 years at a nonprofit called the Barn Youth Center. There at the barn, we go every first and third and fourth Saturday of the month to help chaperone a group of wonderfully rambunctious middle schoolers. And while there have definitely been times I've walked into nights tired and overwhelmed from the busyness of being a working full-time college student, I've left every night grateful and free of regret of the time spent investing in the lives of those who need care and those who desperately need Jesus. Now that we've established a need and proposed a solution for this problem, let's explore the benefits of volunteering. Primarily, volunteering benefits communities and individuals within society. In fact, first, volunteering enhances unity within a community. For example, Mayo Clinic explained in August 2023 how one of the best ways to form new friendships and cultivate pre-existing relationships includes participating in a shared activity, such as volunteering. Secondly, volunteering also benefits the well-being of the individual who serves. In fact, research shows that volunteering can boost your physical health. According to an article published by United Wake Your Country in 2026, consistent volunteering positively correlates with reduced stress levels, which is also proven to help reduce inflammation, chronic pain, risk of heart disease, and more. This article also notes that those who volunteer are more likely to have improved sleep schedules and strengthened immune systems. Along with your physical well-being, studies show that a person's mental health can improve as they volunteer. For example, Community Memorial Healthcare shared in April 2024 how volunteering can alleviate loneliness, reduce depression, and increase positive thinking. Third and finally, volunteering is a way for followers of Christ to fulfill God's biblical command for us to serve others. For example, 1 Peter 4:10 says, "As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace." According to Dr. David Jeremiah's commentary on this passage in August 2024, God has equipped each person in the body of Christ with a special one-of-a-kind gift, essential for the health and growth of the church. Undoubtedly, volunteering can positively impact your community as well as your personal well-being and walk with the Lord. To summarize, taking initiative to volunteer for a nonprofit organization can have far-reaching benefits in supporting the financial, relational, and mental well-being of our post-COVID society. As nonprofits have spent the last few years combating challenges amplified by the global pandemic, volunteering proves to be an effective way to enhance further sustainability and growth in society. Serving in a nonprofit not only brings positive change to your community, but also deep value and benefits for you, the volunteer. You and the gifts God has purposefully given you are priceless. May we not let these gifts go to waste, but rather use them to serve one another in ways like volunteering for the good of your neighbor and the glory of God. Thank you.